Shai Reznik, and who have never seen my talks by raise of hands? Okay, nice, half of the people. This is nice. So, for those of you who don't know me, my talks are a safe place, okay? You can go crazy, you can shout, nobody will judge you for it, you can blame it all on me, okay? So I need your full cooperation now, and we'll start by clapping our hands very politely when my hand will be down this low. And when I will raise it, you should go harder and harder and harder and add yells, and when I reach the top, go crazy, okay? Yell and, okay, shout and be energized. So let's start very polite, very polite. Yeah. Let's raise it a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so great, great cooperation. And second thing that I really like, Julio Iglesias. Yeah, so Julio fans. The thing that I want us to do in this talk is whenever you see a Julio picture, you should, there will be music, the DJ and I talked before, and we all will clap our hands like we're in a Julio Iglesias concert. Okay, let's try it. DJ, hit me. Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So let's start the talk. I'm Shai Reznik. I'm a front-end developer for over 13 years. I'm a consultant for over 4 years, and I'm a small-time Angular contributor, really small contributions and stuff. I'm also the founder of HighRes.io, which is a web development school. We teach funny, simple, easy to learn, and very short courses. Upcoming 2 courses about TDD, the most boring subject ever, which we made it super funny, so they will go up in October. And yeah, this talk is for CTOs, architects, veteran developers, new developers, and also CEOs. Basically everyone who wants to evaluate Angular 2 as a client-side development framework, which basically means everybody. Yeah, okay, so story time. 4 months ago, I went with Uri Shaked, which is a speaker here in this conference also, a good friend of mine. After NGConf, we went to San Francisco to the Slack offices to visit our friend, which works there, and we sat down and we had a chat, and he asked me about what I've been doing, and I told him about my clients and HighRes and all the stuff that I've been up to. And I told him that I needed to choose a framework for myself for my next 5 years, for my clients and for my personal projects and for HighRes.io. Because I believe that in HighRes I'm gonna focus on one technology stack and not like teach everything you need to know to give web developers like a certain path, okay, not to confuse them. So I need to choose very well what I'm going to focus about. And for the enterprise clients, I needed something large scale. For the personal project, I needed something that will fit small scale. And for HighRes, I needed both, okay? So I could let people get in with the small scale stuff and gradually learn about more enterprise scale problems. So I told him that I chose Angular 2. And he was like, isn't Angular dead? And it was after like 4 months ago, like I said, before the release. And this friend wasn't a web developer or a front-end developer and didn't know much about Angular. And so I started explain the stuff to him because all he ever read was from blog posts or tweets and stuff like that. So I started like a 20 minutes answer as to why I chose Angular 2, and I kept talking and talking and talking, and by the time I was done, he was like, okay, our time is up now, okay, so I'll call security, and yeah. So when we left, I told Uri, you know what, I think I'm onto something, because as I said, my friend is not a front-end developer, and he doesn't know Angular, and he's not part of the community or read stuff about it other than the headlines. So I needed to explain my decision without using any technology reasons, like that it's a full framework, or it got a dependency injection, or change detection, an AOT compiler, and it's built for scale. All the technology reasons I assess before I choose a framework. And this is the technology reason. Because of those reasons, I chose Angular 2. And I'm going to actually blog about it. This will be my first high-res blog post. So if you want, you can register and read about it. And during my explanation, I realized that I was onto something. I was on something that, a feature that nobody really talks about. Okay? And do you want to know this feature? Yeah? Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, it's only 2 people. Let's warm you guys up, okay? It's another time for Julio Iglesias, okay? Okay, so do you want to know this feature?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So the feature nobody is talking about in the blog post, why Angular 2 and stuff like that, is the Angular core team, which I know it maybe sounds corny or something like that, but if you actually think about it from an investor point of view, okay, and we are all investors of our time and sometimes our money, also our company's money, it actually makes sense, because usually investors, they look on the market and the opportunity, and also when they choose to invest in a startup, they also look at the team. And it's like PowerPoint special effects here. So, so they look at the team. And why? Because you can have the greatest product in the world, but without a good team with capabilities, it will probably fail, right? And it will be a waste of time. So the NG team you don't write it? Oh, OK. Great. Don't write it. Blah, the subtitles. Oh, you do write it. Blah, blah, ba, 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 ba. Shai is pretty. I think I'm falling in love with him. OK, no. OK, so the NG team characteristics. OK, these are the three things that I think that makes the NG team a great team, and why we should all invest in their startup. The 3 things are experience, innovation, and community. And let's talk about them. OK, experience, OK? So Angular 1 is, as far as I know, for the past few years, is the most popular JavaScript framework in the world. And because of that, they ran into many edge cases and much feedback, okay, and lots of lessons learned from Angular 1, how to create the API better and how to address certain performance issues. So they already are experienced, are an experienced team. So like an investor, if I want to invest in a startup, I usually will prefer the team that has done few mistakes in their past, and not like a fresh, newly fresh team or something like that. So, why? Because we are getting a framework which has a head start. Okay, it already is built on top of the lessons learned. The second thing is innovation, so Angular 1, when Mishko first started building it in 2009, he thought to himself, okay, I don't really like all this like tags and HTML. I don't want this. I want this. okay? And back then, nobody was talking about it. But now it's like a common thing. We have components, but this was the first directive, right? So this was the first innovation. The second innovation was dependency injection. He came from Java and thought to himself, okay, why can't we have it? Why only Java has dependency injection, right? So, so he introduced it also to JavaScript. And so if we look forward, the same innovation mindset we've got in the same team, in the same expanded now team, with lots of great minds who think about what we will deal with like few years ahead. So there are always like 10 steps ahead of us, and by the time we'll get there, okay, they will already be ready with new features. Right, here you go. You can use web brokers or any other technology that will be in 5 years or something like that, or 3 years. So also, that's the second reason. It's time for another Julio time. Okay. So the third thing is awesome community building skills, which I think is the killer feature of Angular, okay? And clap if you agree, okay, about this feature. Okay, half of you agree, or something like that. But let me explain, okay? So another story. When I first started developing a web application, the first framework that I used, I went to the IRC channel, which I was naive and thought I would like get real answers and stuff like that. So I entered and started asking questions, and I got so much hate from the members there in the chat, and like calling me noob or dumb or like all those stuff, and like this is a noob question, and I really felt discouraged, and I didn't really want to maybe tweet about it or learn about it, or even if I found a bug, I didn't want to really issue a fix for it because I was afraid that if I will issue the wrong PR or like do a mistake, everybody will pick on me, okay? So I felt discouraged, and I won't mention the name of the firm, but it's not here today, okay? So, by the way, this is not me. The secret ingredient to an awesome community is love. And I think that it's really true. I really believe it, that if you throw love on anything, it grows. So, and then we can like support each other. This, by the way, this is, I don't know this guy also. It was a bus in Vietnam, a 12-hour ride, and just fell asleep on me. Okay, so the Angular team has like community building level master, okay? They really know how to build a very loving community and very inclusive community. And by like interviewing them, they all say that it came from one guy, one person, which they are all infected by, which is Brad Green, okay? And Brad was the first guy who started this loving and loving attitude. And to show you like an example, after NGConf, I went to the Angular offices in Mountain View and interviewed the core team for a YouTube series that I'm gonna publish called the Serious Dev Talk, which I really want to do like funny interviews, and I really try to push them to the limit and ask like annoying questions and see their reaction and make them uncomfortable and stuff like that. So I want to show you 1 minute of the interview I did with Brad, which I think really shows the character of Brad. Let's see. Okay, good.
So, why do you wear this same shirt?
You can sit with us. Yes. You know, Angular is about building web applications and now building mobile and desktop apps as well. But the other thing that it's about
Okay, so yeah, just to show you the man's character, he was serious, okay? I was trying to push him, he was serious. This is his attitude and the whole team's attitude, and yeah, okay, this is a reminder, I forgot to remove it. Okay, so as you know, good and bad things roll downhill, and I think it's true in the case of frameworks and technology. When the community sees the community leaders or the core team behind the framework act a certain way, they also like subconsciously feel they can act the same way or try to imitate. This is what I believe or what I've seen in my 10 years of front-end development. And I think that the reason we are such a loving community and our respectful community is because of these guys. And for the business investors in the crowd or who are watching, I wanted to also state why I think community is something you want to add to your evaluation process when you evaluate a new framework to choose for your next big enterprise product. And if you have a strong community, you have more projects, more third-party libraries, and you don't need, and your developers don't need to write everything themselves if they can't find it in the core framework. You also have more use cases, so by the time you will get to that use case, probably other companies have already been there. You also have more bug fixes because also other member of the community fix, but also your developers can feel welcomed and issue a pull request and they won't get disrespected. And you have much more potential developers because the larger the community is, you have more meetups, you have more like connections, and you get more potential developers that can get up and running quickly. So now it's another time for summary. Okay, let's summarize the talk. So the hidden feature, I think, is the core team, and I think that nobody's really talking about. That's why I chose to talk about the core team and not about the technology stack, which I'm going to write about, because it's the end of the day, and you probably will shoot me if I start talking about the AOT compiler and stuff like that. And I really think that it is a very valuable point, and I can say that about them because I'm not part of them, and they're probably embarrassed now, but I don't care. And the three characteristics, okay, never mind. The attributes, the properties of this feature are experience, innovation, and community building skills. So with that, this is why I bet my next few years on Angular 2. Thank you very much.